Introduction. Hello, and welcome to this video on what is Mautic. As you read these words, I inform you that an epochal revolution is taking place right now. We have literally entered a new era of marketing automation and email marketing, which changed the rules of the game forever, and with them, the lives of hundreds of thousands of people and companies. If you have never heard of marketing automation before, then I inform you that it is, in some respects, a great evolution of email marketing, while for others, of its total overcoming, leading the web marketing to the next level. Until recently, generally the use of marketing automation platforms was only accessible to a few due to their very high cost, hundreds to thousands of dollars per month. But today, thanks to Mautic, anyone has the opportunity to use a marketing automation and email marketing platform for free forever and take advantage of all its benefits. There are so many. However, most users still don't know and continue to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month on marketing their businesses. Since I want to also share with you what a portentous opportunity Mautic can be for both individuals and companies, especially for SMEs, in this article, I talk about what Mautic is, its enormous potential, and how it could change forever also your life and that of all your activities. And I will do so by providing you with a comprehensive overview, perhaps the most comprehensive currently available online. Furthermore, since in the description section of this video, we have included the most powerful tools and services to use with Mautic and much more, including some of the most powerful ones currently on the web, of which 99% of you likely have never heard of yet, we also show you how it is possible to increase Mautic's potential exponentially, bringing his creations to the highest level. So, if you can't wait to find out more, let's start discovering the wonderful world of Mautic, all its secrets, and how you can take part in this great revolution too. Good vision. What is Mautic? Born from the intrepid dream of a visionary developer, David B. Hurley, and then purchased by Acquia, a renowned open-source digital experience company which supports its continuous development together with other web development companies, Mautic is the first open-source marketing automation platform, we will see what this means a little later, in the world, which, according to official data, has so far been translated into more than 35 languages, and it is currently used by more than 200,000 organizations around the planet, continuing to grow day by day more and more. What is Mautic as a marketing automation platform? As a marketing automation platform, Mautic is an intelligent software which, once integrated with your website, allows you to basically do two things. One, to collect information about visitors to your site, such as, for example, the web pages they visit, the time spent on these web pages, or, crucially, their digital contact details, such as their email address or a telephone number, transforming them into contacts, that is, into contactable people, etc. But it is also able to track some off-site activities. 2. Thanks to the use of the information collected and its multiple interactive functions to create, on the one hand, marketing automation campaigns, later we will see what they are and their extraordinary power, and to carry out, on the other, also highly targeted email marketing activities. Both marketing automation campaigns and email marketing activities, each with a different level of complexity, basically have the purpose of creating an ad hoc communication, nurturing in jargon, with these contacts, which, in the case of campaigns, can take place through one or even more communication channels. Such communication typically aims to create a meaningful relationship, and when used with good intentions and is effective, it can help someone do something, such as achieving a goal, solving a problem, etc., improving their life, which often and willingly it has the natural consequence of making a potential customer a real customer. But the only limit to what you could do is just your imagination. All of this is almost completely automatic, thus also saving a large amount of time and in a constant way. So even when you sleep, triggering continuous favorable circles capable of making your company grow in a potentially infinite way, and arriving with this to realize its main purpose. That is the initially mentioned marketing automation, or in other words, amazing magic. D.B. Hurley's dream. The dream of Hurley, the founder of Mautic, can easily be condensed into one word: equality. Before the birth of Mautic, the use of marketing automation tools was reserved only for those lucky few who could afford it. Generally, the cost of using a marketing automation platform fluctuated and still fluctuates between hundreds and thousands of dollars per month. But Hurley was going to change that and iron out the disparities. Thus, he envisioned Mautic as a marketing automation platform that put people first, and he adopted the open source development model as his own, releasing Mautic under the GNU General Public License version 3, GPL v3, and thus making its source code available to everyone. That is making it freely accessible, usable, modifiable, and redistributable, and even resaleable by anyone, and thereby becoming part of the legendary characters of the web with all merits. Open to all, this has given life to a great community of volunteers and contributors called Mauticians, which is the real driving force behind the project. It is made up of users from various parts of the world, including creative geniuses, project managers, managers and community specialists, passionate software engineers, programmers, developers, cybersecurity experts, designers, but also educators and marketers, and organizers and writers and translators, as well as experimenters, etc. And everyone participates in the development of Mautic in the way that suits them best, sharing new ideas, coordinating groups, making proposals for new features, developing code, solving problems, testing the software, organizing meetings, and much, much more. A community that over time has grown so much that today it has come to count more than 1,000 participants, united together by a common dream and mission, which are well expressed by the following words, which appear in more than one place on the web, on some pages of the official site, in some community videos, and who knows where else. A bit as if they were always there to remind everyone, open quote, the Mautic community is driven by the belief that every person should have the power to understand, manage, and grow their own business significantly. We are focused on helping this become a reality by putting a powerful marketing automation software in the hands of all. Close quote. In short, helping organizations grow by offering a powerful marketing automation tool, but in a revolutionary way compared to before. Mautic's revolution. Before the arrival of Mautic in the field of web marketing, there had already been the birth and evolution of marketing automation platforms, which, from a certain point on, began to proliferate far and wide in every corner of the web. But Mautic managed to reverse the scene. In addition to having all the features of a classic marketing automation platform, Mautic also has some unique features capable of making it a real revolution. All the most important will now be listed. Features of Mautic. Open source. First of all, the first and most important feature, which we have already mentioned at the beginning of this article, which makes Mautic a revolution among marketing automation software, is undoubtedly its open nature. From what is known, in fact, Mautic is the only open source marketing automation platform on the web. This feature has enormous implications, as all the other revolutionary features we are about to talk about derive from it. Multi-user platform. Whether you want to carry out your marketing automation activities as a lone wolf, or if you want to do it using collaborators, perhaps the most brilliant, intuitive, and original ones, those who, in order not to be found by ordinary people, are holed up in the most unthinkable and mysterious, inscrutable, inaccessible places, where even the light has not yet arrived. In fact, some headbutt into the furniture, and which, in order not to attract attention, move only at nightfall, in the shadow, and slowly, one step at a time, once every 6 hours, even when they have to go to the bathroom, and they would never do anything to arouse suspicion. In short, those like Bill, your neighbor who goes to the supermarket naked with a transparent plastic bag on his head so as not to be recognized, but who is so good at copywriting, in fact, nobody responds to the letters of complaint against him for his obscene deeds in a public place like he does. Anyway, both in one case and in the other, Mautic gives you both possibilities, thanks to its useful feature, multi-user. In Mautic, similar to how it is possible to do in WordPress, it is in fact possible both to operate as a single user or to create multiple users to whom, based on the role or roles we have assigned to them and their permissions, you can give the possibility or not of carrying out certain activities, that is, only those that we want them to carry out. We can, for example, create a new user and assign him the role of administrator, a role that grants all possible permissions and therefore the ability to do anything. Or we can assign them a role created ad hoc by us, a role to which we will have associated specific permissions chosen by us, and therefore the possibility of doing only what these permissions will allow them to do, while maintaining control over all the activities carried out by users, among other things constantly monitored thanks to the use of a special widget. This gives the possibility to anyone, any person, company, etc., who uses Mautic to start collaborations with anyone who wants and is interested in doing so, like a friend marketer with whom to have fun designing and implementing all sorts of strategies, or as one or more professionals, perhaps each specialized in a specific branch of marketing automation, to try, thanks to their experience, to improve the results of your activities. But multi-user is also very useful for something else, as you will find out in the next articles and videos. Multilingual platform. Another useful feature of Mautic that we have already mentioned above is its multilingual nature. Mautic is in fact a marketing automation platform translated into more than 35 languages and, therefore, can be used by users from all over the globe. You can set your preferred language during the installation process, again, as in WordPress, but it can be changed at any time within the platform. But there is more. Mautic not only gives you the ability to set your own preferred language for the entire platform, it also gives you the ability to set a custom language for each individual user within the platform. This means that if you install Mautic by setting a language for the entire platform, let's say English, and then set a different language for one or more users, let's say Italian, but also in addition to Italian, other languages, for example, a different one for each user, each of these users will see what they are allowed to see, based on their role and permissions, in the custom language set. This allows anyone who uses Mautic to start international collaborations by facilitating the use of the platform for people of different nationalities and languages. Segments. Often, if you want to help someone get better, it's not enough just to tell them what might help them get better. it may also need to be done right. Would you like to be able to say the right thing to the right person at the right time, in the right way, always getting the best possible result? Well, with Mautic, you can, thanks to another basic feature present in every professional marketing automation platform, the ability to segment your contacts, namely the ability to create segments. In Mautic, a segment is a set of contacts grouped in the same list based on one or more criteria, which you can establish yourself according to your objectives, and which can be of various kinds: geographical, psychological, socioeconomic, etc. For example, it is possible to create segments by gender, age, place of origin, language, personal and professional situation, desires, personal and professional interests, actions performed, pages visited, resources downloaded, products purchased, etc., stages of the funnel you are in, etc. So basically, you can create a segment consisting of all women, or one made up only of people living in Naples, one made by people who have shown interest in a certain subject, one made up of people who like to shave using the grass trimmer, and so on. You can also create segments based on multiple criteria together, with no limit on the number of those criteria. So, to take up the same example of a little while ago, you can create a single segment of only women who live in Naples and maybe even interested in a certain topic or theme, such as, for example, which panties between those with hearts and those with bunnies would love to receive RoboCop as a gift for his birthday, and beyond, depending on your needs. Just to give an example of the power of segments, let's say you are listing a product on your website, and only some of your contacts buy this product. Now suppose that, after some time, you want to remind all your contacts who have not yet purchased it of the existence of this product, or that you want to encourage them to purchase through a special offer reserved for them. Well, thanks to the use of segments, you could easily send an email only to them, and you could even do it automatically, addressing only those you need to contact. But that's just one of the many useful ways segments can be used. The segments allow you both to realize simple targeted communications through the direct use of the communication channels available in Mautic with one or more specific segments, but also to implement real communication strategies with your contacts, allowing you to use one or more segments as the starting point of a campaign designed specifically for a specific segment, making your communication as effective as possible. Campaigns. Imagine that you are the king of a great kingdom, and that you can instruct a servant to perform a task for you, such as, for example, tending the royal garden, feeding animals, or riding snails, and that, having done this, you do not have to say anything to him, because he will repeat this task as long as you want, even for the rest of his days. That is, until you order him to stop, and autonomously. Now, imagine being able to repeat the operation with as many servants as you want, assigning a different task to each of them. And imagine that among the infinite tasks that can be assigned to them, there is also that of helping someone to do something, earning for this some money. So, in short, we are talking about the possibility of instructing infinite servants once only to perform a different, even complex task among infinite tasks available, including that of helping someone to do something, earning for this also a remuneration for a potentially infinite time and independently. Now, if in a certain way I could achieve all this thanks to the use of Mautic, wouldn't it be infinitely amazing? Well, know that in the realm of Mautic, all this is possible, thanks to its most important feature, the one that most of all makes Mautic a marketing automation software: the ability to create campaigns. In fact, Creating a campaign is a bit like creating a digital servant. Once created, you can instruct her to achieve a certain goal, just as you would instruct a servant to perform a certain task. A campaign, in fact, is basically an automated sequence of potentially infinite activities that works in synergy with all the elements made available by Mautic: landing pages, forms, segments, points, etc., to achieve a specific goal, which usually consists in the transformation of potential customers into real customers, generating profit. But the only limit, as already mentioned above, is only your imagination. Once set up, you can start it, publish it, and from that moment on, it will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, automatically. The only difference between our imaginary servant and a campaign is that the former is precisely the result of the imagination. What you can do with Mautic's campaigns, on the other hand, is pure reality. Landing pages. As is generally known in the world of web marketing, an online business is likely to need different types of pages for its website, pages that perform a different function, according to the different marketing needs of the business. Among these, there may also be the famous landing pages, or all those pages on which users land in order to achieve a specific purpose. There are various types of landing pages. We have, for example, the squeeze pages. That is all those pages that are generally intriguing, engaging, captivating, but also very convincing, sometimes mysterious, which, if well done, can become truly irresistible, which usually have the purpose of acquiring information about anyone who visits them, most often by submitting a form, and on which mainly all those web users who are looking for a solution to their problem, need, desire, and the like land. Or pages such as assets pages. For example, all those pages on which we send a user to download a resource reserved for him, usually in exchange for his name and email by filling in and sending a form, such as, for example, an ebook, a video, an MP3, or the sales letters, or all those pages on which the purchase of a product or service is proposed, or again, the thank you pages. That is all those pages on which a user is sent after he has performed an action for which we want to thank him, such as, for example, subscribing to our newsletter, or a purchase of a product. Or simply, all those pages on which we send a user to track their interest in a certain content. Well, Mautic gives you the ability to create fantastic landing pages quickly and easily. These landing pages can be structured in various ways and can contain both textual elements, both graphic elements, and functional elements, which, according to the chosen structure, you can order as you wish. These pages can also be multilingual. That is, you can create a page in a main language, the same language spoken by all those to whom you would most like to present this page, such as, for example, English. Then you can create one or more copies of the same page in other languages for any visitor who speaks a language other than the one set as the main one for that page, such as, for example, Italian, French, etc. And subsequently, thanks to a function made available by Mautic, you can link all these pages together. In this way, if a user attempts to visit this page, the one with the main language, and if that user will have a location set as a favorite in his browser, or a language set as a favorite other than that set on that page as the main language, then, if a copy of the page translated into that language exists, Mautic will automatically present just that to the user, again, managing to offer the right content to the right user at the right time. In addition, Mautic provides a lot of useful and detailed information, in some cases even accompanied by graphics and in real time on each page created. Among these, just to name a few, we find the pages viewed, the unique visitors versus those returned, the average time spent on each page, the number of pages constituting a translation of the page in question, the recent activities carried out on the page, etc. In this way, you can always stay informed of the general status of the page, its progress, and any update. Dynamic Web Content, DWC. It would not be magical if your textual content could transform, if desired even to completely change, depending on the situation, and, more precisely, depending on who it is in front of, always becoming the right content for the right person at the right moment? How high would be the level of personalization your content would reach if all of this were possible? Well, to obtain this result, it is not necessary to recite some obscure magic formula in Aramaic or to end up with a foot in a puddle. But, from the 2.0 version of Mautic, it is sufficient to resort to DWC, Dynamic Web Content. Dynamic web contents are the way in which you can personalize your textual content, making it each time tailor-made for anyone who reads it, a bit like a tailor does with the clothes of his customers. They are called dynamic precisely for this reason, because they change automatically depending on the occurrence of one or more conditions, which are decided by you, allowing you to present a certain content only to those you deem appropriate to present it, or only to those who satisfy the conditions established by you. Therefore, if these conditions are satisfied, then the corresponding textual content is presented to the user. Otherwise, another text will be presented, or not. To make everything clearer, I'll give you an example. Imagine having to create a squeeze page to acquire new leads for the promotion and sale of your new product. Yes, the one you are convinced will sell so much that will run out of stock within an hour of launch, and then it will even be proclaimed a product of the year. Yes, I'm talking about it, namely the Dytop 2000, a very powerful and innovative mouse aspirator to be used on any occasion, for which you have also created the following advertising message. Did you just find out you have a mouse under your pillow? Did you by chance notice out of the corner of your eye that there is a mouse in the wedding ring on your finger? Do you know for sure that there is a mouse in one of your books, even if you have never seen it and looking through its pages you find nothing? Have you noticed that the walls in your house have a color that you no longer like? Well, in all of these cases, and in all others, use the Dytop 2000, and the mice all over the world will have the hours numbered. Advertising message for the Dytop 2000. Now, imagine you want to create 3 different versions of this advertisement, each for a different and specific group of people, in order to tailor each version to the group it is intended for. The first version for a group of people between 18 and 30 years of age, in which you will highlight the benefits of having a Dytop 2000 for people of this age group, such as, for example, being able to make your home environment a clean and hygienically healthy place where you can spend your youth in safety. The second version for a group of people between 31 and 50 years of age, in which you will highlight the benefits of having a Dytop 2000 for people of this other age group, such as, for example, on the one hand, the benefits for those of these people who have a family, such as having a Dytop 2000 would allow you to defend your children from mice, protecting them from any aggression or kidnapping. On the other hand, the benefits for those of these people who do not have a family and want to have one, such as having a Dytop 2000, would allow you to suck in a mouse and then adopt it, finally giving life to the family you have always dreamed of. The third version for a group of people between 51 and 100 years of age, in which you will highlight the benefits of having a Dytop 2000 for people of the latter age group, such as, for example, Having a die top 2000 would allow you to suck rats to insert them in your testament, making them your heirs, so that your lineage continues to survive forever and ever. Now, in these very realistic scenarios, how would you present each version of the message only and exclusively to the group it is intended for? With Mautic, in the past, before the birth of dynamic web content, to be able to do this, you would have had to create 3 different pages, one for each message, and direct users to each of them according to their age. Today, however, thanks to dynamic web content, it is sufficient to create a single page on which to insert all 3 versions of the text. And once this is done, Mautic, upon the occurrence of certain conditions, in this case, based on the age of the users who will visit the page, will automatically show, among all the available versions, only the right version of the text to the people to whom that version is destined, managing, even in this case, to show the right content to the right person at the right time. But that's just one of the potentially endless ways you could use dynamic web content. As usual, when it comes to Mautic, the only limit to what you can do is only your imagination. Forms. One of the best known, most important, and currently most used families of components in the vast majority of web marketing strategies in general, and marketing automation and email marketing in particular, especially for automation purposes, is certainly that of forms. The forms, in fact, in these strategies are fundamental elements because they allow, usually in exchange for something, such as downloading a resource, receiving a newsletter, etc., to acquire potentially infinite information about each visitor to your website. That is information thanks to which it will be possible to start that communication process that generally has the purpose of transforming each user from a simple unknown visitor into a relatively well-known contact first, and then into a loyal customer. Not surprisingly, today, the ability to create forms, even at a basic level, is offered by most of the marketing platforms out there, whether they are sophisticated marketing automation platforms or simple email marketing platforms. And since Mautic is both a marketing automation and email marketing platform, it could only offer this possibility too. In fact, precisely by virtue of this dual nature, Mautic offers the possibility of creating 2 different types of forms, namely campaign forms and standalone forms. And each of them responds in particular to the needs of each of these 2 types of platforms. These forms, in fact, differ from each other essentially in the fact that they mainly serve different purposes. The first, as the name suggests, is used to acquire contacts to be used to start marketing automation campaigns, responding to the needs of a marketing automation platform. The second, on the other hand, is used to acquire contacts to be used for email marketing, responding to the needs of an email marketing platform. Furthermore, they also differ in another aspect, namely the actions of the forms. That is, for all those actions made available by Mautic and preset by the module owner or by the administrator, that Mautic, in the case of campaign forms, performs within a campaign, while in the case of standalone forms, executes as soon as a user submits a form, and that is one of the most important factors for automation to occur. Some examples of such form actions are sending an email, adding, changing, or deleting a user to or from a particular segment, and many others. Actions that, when combined, allow to realize even more complex automated processes. Processes such as, for example, just to name one a little more complex, user registration based on double opt-in. That is that process aimed at validating the user's registration by sending a confirmation email to the address provided by him. Whether it's a campaign form or standalone form, both of these two types of forms share some really cool features. One of them is the possibility of being able to compose your own form with a potentially infinite number of fields and of different types. In addition to the classic fields such as name, surname, email address, and the send button, it is in fact possible to add fields such as the checkbox, useful for making the user accept while registering for a campaign or newsletter, etc. Documents such as the privacy policy, terms and conditions use of your site, and to register his consent to receive communications from you and your business, as well as any other type of consent you want to offer to accept. Another interesting field that you can add is that of the CAPTCHA, a useful tool to prevent spam produced by automated bots hunting for forms to be spammed around the net. Or another field is that of the HTML area, or that file, and many others. Another feature common to these two types of forms is that they can make use of multiple functions, developed over time, version after version, which place them among the most innovative forms currently on the web. This wonderful platform, in fact, makes it possible to choose not only among the classic forms, that is, the first to appear on the web, those, to be clear, in which there are simply one or more static fields to be filled in, typically the username and email address, but also among more advanced modules than the previous ones, and, as has generally been seen, also more effective. Among these, in fact, we can currently choose between the multi-paged forms, or the video forms, or the progressive profiling forms, all truly exceptional forms, which we will know in depth and that we will learn to use in the next dedicated articles and video tutorial. Finally, once you have created one or more forms, Mautic gives you the possibility to obtain their source code, either by having it generated automatically from a JavaScript code to be inserted into your website, or by manually copying it in the form of HTML code and then pasting it into your own website. In the latter case, it will also be possible, if you know a bit of HTML and CSS, to customize its appearance as you wish in order to make it completely consistent with your brand, or, in any case, to satisfy any need. Or, alternatively, in case you have no knowledge of web development languages and want to customize your forms, you could always resort to what we believe is the most powerful professional tool currently on the market, already integrated with Mautic for creating forms and bring their customization to the next level. You can find the link to this fantastic tool for Mautic in the description section of this video. Contacts. Attention. This is one of Mautic's most crackling features. Listen carefully. Listening to the following words too fast could make your ears explode. As it is easy to guess, the main element of any web marketing platform based on the use of messages, whether it is marketing automation or simply email marketing, is certainly that of contacts. In particular, we refer to those contacts who have been identified and who therefore have provided information about themselves, such as the name, surname, or, above all, a digital contact, such as an email address, a telephone number, or other, etc. Or, as typically happens, by filling out a form or otherwise. Such contacts, in Mautic, are called standard contacts, or known contacts. Now, in the vast majority of marketing automation platforms, or simply email marketing, present on the web, the current situation regarding this type of contacts is that as the number of contacts within your contact list increases, also increases, sometimes enormously, the overall cost of the monthly fee of each available paid plan, or the cost of sending messages. Anyone with a little knowledge of the sector is now a little famous for the slider present in most of the pricing pages of the websites of these platforms, which, when moved from left to right, allows you to switch between a number of starting preset contacts to a higher number of contacts, showing you, as the cursor moves and the number of contacts rises, the price differences between one number of contacts and another. When this slider reaches its maximum, the cost to be paid reaches the stars. In some cases, we even speak of thousands of dollars per month. And this is also true if you only need to start some simple basic campaigns. This cost is composed of the cost of the hardware resources necessary for the optimal use of these platforms, which increases with the increase in contacts, plus the cost related to the profit margin of the suppliers of these platforms. And it generally, compared to that of Mautic, is really huge, with the consequence that many cannot afford to take advantage of these platforms and enjoy the benefits that the use of these services entails. But today, thanks to Mautic and its open nature, all this is possible. This is because with Mautic, the only cost you pay, and that could increase, is substantially only that of the hardware resources, such as the number of CPU, RAM, or secondary memory, SSD or HDD, necessary for the server hosting Mautic to function correctly in your specific situation based on your needs, which depends on the hosting solution you choose, and which we talk about later in this video. In fact, as by now you should have already understood, apart from the cost for these resources, do you know in Mautic how much the monthly cost to pay increases as your contacts increase? 0. This is because Mautic, being open source, cuts out all unnecessary costs, making you pay only for what is essential, just like with WordPress. The result is that, although Mautic is a high-level platform, the cost of using it becomes incredibly lower than that of using these platforms, making it accessible to almost anyone. This allows everyone to have their own tailor-made marketing automation and email marketing platform, and to pay only for the actual use of the resources they need. At this point, you may be thinking at least two things. 1. It's too good to be true. Answer: seeing is believing. 2. The higher costs of the other marketing automation and email marketing platforms compared to that of Mautic, from a certain point of view, is justified because they also take care of the safety of your contacts. Answer: true, but if you know how to manage a server and its security, then you can take care of the security of Mautic and your contacts yourself. If you don't know how to do it, and you use hosting providers, then if you choose the right provider and the right offer, more on this later in this video, the cost of Mautic security and the contacts in its database, it would be included in the price. Emails. According to the most recent statistics in the field of web marketing, email is still one of the most used means of communication in the world, with its more than 3 billion total users currently estimated, which, according to statistics, they use it both from PCs and, to a greater extent, from tablets and smartphones. But it is also the most powerful digital promotional communication medium ever, with about 70% of people interviewed saying that of all the media currently available, the one through which they prefer to receive promotional content is email. And this is consistent with what was stated by most of the companies interviewed, who agree that email produces an average excellent ROI. Considering this data, and the fact that email is one of the fundamental elements in a marketing automation and email marketing activity, the Mautic developers have considered it crucial to integrate the possibility of creating emails directly within the platform. In fact, Mautic allows you to create two types of emails, each of which is designed to meet specific needs: template emails and segment emails. Template emails are primarily intended to be used as transactional emails, or, as the word itself suggests, as emails to be used for managing transactions. For example, trading, as in the case of emails used for confirming an order following an online purchase, or for sending a digital invoice and things like that. Therefore, for the management of singular events, that is related to single users, and more generally for the management of all those events similar to this one, of events, that is, whose management requires the sending of one or more emails to a specific user, as in the case of emails for verifying subscription to the newsletter or for resetting a password, etc. As such, template emails can be sent more than once to the same contact, and they can also be used on many occasions, within a campaign, as a form action, depending on point triggers, which we will discuss later, as well as for direct sending to contacts and users, etc. Unlike model emails, segment emails are instead designed, also in this case as the word itself suggests, to be sent to segments, one or more than one at the same time. That is, as we have already said previously when we talked about segments, to groups of people grouped according to specific criteria. So, in practice, these are mostly mass emails. For example, emails whose content is sent indiscriminately to anyone belonging to one or more segments, as in the case of emails for making announcements or for sending newsletters, etc. As such, segment emails can only be sent once to the same contact and can only be used in relation to segments. Regardless of the type, Mautic allows you to take advantage of different possibilities for each email. The first possibility is to set limits on the number of emails that can be sent in a given period of time. So you can set, for example, that you can only send a certain number of emails, whatever you want, in an hour, or a week, or a month, as long as you want. And in the event that a number of emails are scheduled to be sent greater than the one set as the limit for a certain period of time, Mautic will queue all the excess emails, for example, all the emails that go beyond that limit, and will automatically send them as soon as possible. Since there are SMTP service providers, which Mautic can use to work, and which we will discuss later, that impose limits on the number of emails that can be sent in a given period of time, this can be useful for you to respect these limits, avoiding running into problems relating to their overcoming. The second is that every email, just like the pages, can be multilingual. That is, it can have a version of itself also in other languages, different from the one set for the main version. The benefits related to this possibility are the same as those of the pages: ability to provide the right version to the right user. The third possibility is to integrate other elements within the content of each email, such as the components of Mautic, when possible, the information contained in the contact fields, etc., simplifying the development and personalization of the emails. The fourth is the ability to access the preview of each email created, viewing it in the browser in order to evaluate its presentability, its shapes, sizes, images, text, colors, and the degree of satisfaction. Useful to understand if you want to make any changes or improvements to the email before sending it to your recipients. The fifth possibility is to program the time of sending the emails, selecting the desired sending date and time each time. This can be useful to you in more than one case. For example, to give life to those types of campaigns commonly known as drip campaigns, in which the messages to be sent to one's contacts are sent over time, just as drops fall over time during a drip. Or, it can be useful if you decide to schedule the publication of your new article on a specific date and time and to automatically send, at the same date and time, or whenever you want, a newsletter that informs your community of the publication that took place. And, even then, what a feature like this might do you good depends only on your imagination. The sixth is that, offered by all the MA and EM platforms, that every contact to whom an email is sent can access, once the email has been sent, the online version of the same. This is to ensure that, in case of problems viewing the email within the email client, it is possible to view it correctly using its online version. The seventh possibility is a possibility, in some respects, basic, for others, innovative, really useful, and which helps to make you compliant with the GDPR. That is, the one that each contact directly within each email received can manage independently the communication relationship he has with you and your business or company. In particular, each contact can have two possibilities, one offered by most platforms, the other only by the most professional ones. The first is to unsubscribe autonomously and immediately from receiving, from the moment of unsubscribing onwards, any type of future communication simply by clicking a button, the unsubscribe button, which Mautic allows you to easily insert in every email you send. The second is if you activate the Preference Center, which we will talk about when we talk about communication channels, to choose whether or not to continue being part of one or more segments to which you currently belong, and therefore also to all possible communications connected to them, whether, regardless of any belonging to one or more segments, continue to receive your communications or pause them, and for how long, and for what channel, and all this simply in a few clicks. This possibility helps you to simplify the management of communication with contacts, allowing you to fully satisfy your contacts and have fewer things to take care of, and, for each of them, to interact with you and your business in the way they see fit. Finally, each email, such as landing pages and modules, has its own dedicated page containing all the information relating to them, such as, in addition to those common to the pages and forms, the date of creation, the date of the last edit, etc., open emails, bounced emails, clicks on links within them, etc. All useful information to give you a general idea of the effectiveness of your emails. Assets. Today, on the web, to acquire new contacts and their email addresses to be used to start marketing automation campaigns or to do email marketing, it is often not enough to make a registration form available for various reasons. And it may be useful to offer an incentive to entice the user to fill out this form. Well, doing it has never been easier, thanks to another feature of Mautic, assets. The assets in Mautic are all those elements that can be offered to users, typically in exchange for filling out and submitting a form. They can consist of one or more files, such as, for example, a PDF ebook, the type of file offered in most cases, an image, such as an infographic, an MP3, a video, or even a whole software, as in the case of limited-time free trials of applications, etc. They usually offer the user valuable content, increasing the possibility of involving them in their activities. They can be loaded into Mautic both locally and remotely, in the latter case even using services made specifically for this. They can be downloaded either as soon as the user has sent the form or via a link. Furthermore, they are tracked by Mautic, which, as for other components, provides you with a lot of useful information, such as, for example, how many times a resource has been downloaded, its trend over time, etc., allowing you to have, even in this case, clearer ideas about the conduct of your activities. Multiple communication channels. In recent times, with the evolution of technology, numerous new means of communication have emerged through which people can communicate. Starting from SMS, passing through emails, and then reaching chats, up to web notifications, mobile, social networks, etc. Today, there are so many means of communication to choose from. Among these, there are often those who prefer one in particular rather than another, so much so that they use it in a prevalent way over the others. Therefore, having the ability to share your communications across multiple media allows you to basically do three things. 1. Take a step forward in the direction of your potential customers by managing to reach an audience that you would not otherwise be able to reach, and by communicating through their preferred means of communication. 2. Keep up with the times. 3. Stay one step ahead of everyone else. Well, another characteristic of Mautic, typical of professional marketing automation platforms, is that of being able to personalize communication with your contacts, potential customers, and customers using multiple communication channels. In fact, in Mautic, in addition to the classic email, you can send your content to all your contacts also through other means of communication, such as SMS, web notifications, mobile notifications, focus elements such as bars, modal, notifications, full screen windows, or in the case of social media, such as tweets, and so on and so forth. Given that thanks to the open and extensible nature of Mautic, it is possible to create potentially infinite communication channels. But there is more. With Mautic, you can even allow your contacts, by creating the Contact Preference Center, to independently set their preferred communication channel, the type of communications to receive, their message frequency preferences, for example, when to receive messages. You can also indicate a time interval and how many messages to receive, and even whether to pause the use of a certain channel for receiving communications, completely or only for a certain period of time, making sure that all the communications subsequent to these settings are regulated by them, and therefore giving your contacts full freedom of choice on the medium, type, moment, and quantity of communication that satisfies them. Moreover, thanks to all this, with Mautic, you can also use a function called marketing messages, which allows you to adapt your content to one or all of the available channels and, taking into account the settings of each user, send or not automatically the message using the channel, the type of communications, and the frequency corresponding to the preferences of each user. In short, even from the point of view of communication channels, Mautic helps you to offer tailor-made solutions for your contacts, satisfying their preferences and simplifying life. Free choice of messaging service providers. Attention! Of all the features of Mautic, this is undoubtedly one of the most exciting. Listen with extreme calm. Listening to the following words creates such enthusiasm that many want to swim across the Adriatic Sea with only the help of a toothbrush. Another obligation that you are forced to accept when using a marketing automation or email marketing platform out there is that of having to use only and exclusively the messaging services of those platforms, services for sending emails, SMS, etc., to be able to communicate with your contacts and therefore also everything that this entails. One of the consequences of this is that you have no freedom of choice. If, for any reason, you no longer feel comfortable with the email sending service of that platform and you want to use another one, you could not simply change this service, replacing it with another, but you should necessarily change the entire platform. However, as we will see later in this article, there are suppliers who, due to their conditions of use for the use of their platforms, make any migration inconvenient. Another consequence of having to use only and exclusively the messaging services of these platforms is that you must accept the prices that these platforms offer you. And this also applies in the event that these prices increase from one day to the next, both as regards the cost of each single message, both as regards the cost of pre-established packages of messages, even if the quantity of messages provided in these packages would be greater than your real needs. So, if for example, a supplier offers 3 packages, the first that allows you to send 10,000 emails per month, the second 20,000, and the third 30,000, and you need to send 13,000, then you must necessarily adhere to the package number 2, spending on more resources than you need. Now, if this is not a problem in the case of all those platforms that, as we have seen a little while ago, base their prices on the total number of contacts in the database rather than on the number of emails sent, it can instead become so in the case of all those platforms that base their prices on the total number of emails to be sent. The result is that if the costs change or you need fewer resources than those pre-packaged within the packages offered, you either accept the situation or, even in this case, you are forced to change the entire platform with all the complications that follow. But with Mautic, even in this case, things change. Another of the revolutionary aspects of Mautic is that being an application downloadable and usable by anyone for free, and therefore not having any default messaging service, anyone can and must choose and use their own preferred messaging service provider, even more than one at the same time, for each of the communication channels currently available in Mautic that you want to use. There are currently several of these suppliers on the market. If we want to mention some of the most famous and interesting in each field, we can report, for example, in relation to email sending services, Amazon SES and Elastic Email, or in relation to SMS sending services, Twilio, or in relation to services for web and mobile notification, OneSignal, and PushEngage. Each with a different level of quality, with their own offerings, resources, even free, and prices, some really astounding. You can also find links to these essential services for Mautic in the description section of this video. Regarding email service providers, for example, Amazon SES, which is one of the services of AWS, Amazon Web Services, if the application you would like to send emails that reside on the Amazon EC2 service, a cloud service computing that can also be used to host web apps, offers you the possibility to send 62,000 emails per month for free. Although it must be said that hosting your own web app like Mautic on a service like EC2 requires an infinity of technical knowledge, both in terms of distribution, administration, and above all, application security. And even if there are services that seem to make things easy, in truth, if you do not have advanced technical skills, you risk being hacked in the blink of an eye. That is, you risk that some hacker infiltrates your Mautic installation and creates havoc, with all the damage that may derive from it. So we would like to advise you to use this service to host a web app like Mautic only if you know exactly what you are doing. Aside from that, regardless of whether you host your application on one of the Amazon services or don't, Amazon allows you to send 10,000 emails for $1. Yes, you got it right, only $1. So, if you need to send 100,000 emails per month with Amazon SES, you can do it for just $10. $10 or 100,000 emails. Isn't that amazing? And do you want to know something even more incredible? There is even better. In fact, if you choose an SMTP service provider like Elastic Email, you will not only be able to send emails at a lower price than Amazon's, 0.09 cents per 1,000 emails, but regardless of whether the application you would like to send the emails to, whether or not they reside on their server, a service which, among other things, they do not even offer, as in the case of Amazon, Elastic Email also allows you to send 100 emails per day. Therefore, on average, 3,100 emails per month, for free, forever. Isn't that great? Therefore, if you are about to start your business right now, and you only need to send a few emails initially, you won't have to spend a dime. Regarding SMS service providers, Twilio also offers free resources. Twilio, in fact, gives you $15.50 to use and test their services. As for prices, fixed prices are currently offered. Finally, with regard to web and mobile push notification providers, OneSignal and PushEngage also join some of the providers just seen by offering a free plan forever. OneSignal, in fact, offers the possibility of sending unlimited web and mobile push notifications, and this as long as you have 30,000 web subscribers and infinite mobile subscribers. Then, once this number of subscribers is exceeded, it is necessary to move on to the next plan for a fee and with more functionality in order to continue using their services. PushEngage, on the other hand, offers the possibility to send up to 30 notifications per month, and this as long as you have 500 subscribers. Then, even in this case, once this threshold is exceeded, it is necessary to switch to the premium plan, also in this case for a fee and with more features. As for prices, in this case we are talking about packages, and the price is calculated based on the number of subscribers a customer has. So, have you seen how many choices? And think that those just mentioned are just the most famous. Who knows how many others there will be, or will be born in the future? The world is constantly changing. Among all these suppliers, it is not necessary to choose one rather than another. You can also use more than one. Mautic is designed in such a way as to give you the possibility to use as many as you want, both separately and at the same time. The important thing is to choose the ones you need and that is right for you. Once this is established, you can try them all, or in any case, the ones you deem most appropriate to try, taking advantage, when possible, of the free resources made available, and see how you are, and based on this, make your choice, paying only for what you need. This is because you are free, and without any constraints. You are free to choose whoever you want. You are free to choose it whenever you want. You are free to try thanks to free plans. You are free to spend only on the resources you need and at fair and super advantageous prices. And if for any reason you are not satisfied, you are free to change whenever you want. Now do you realize why, when I speak of Mautic, I speak of revolution? Such an opportunity has never been seen before. But now, thanks to Mautic, all this is possible. Integrated Builder, Themes, Ready Templates, and Code Mode. Whether you are a long-time web developer, a skilled coder, able to delve into the thickest and most inextricable strings of code, or you have never written a line of code in your life, and you don't know anything about languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc., when it comes to creating landing pages or emails for your business, able to integrate with your marketing automation and email marketing system, Mautic has the solution that's right for you at your fingertips, and this solution, a feature of Mautic in constant evolution, is called Built-in Builder. The Built-in Builder is a tool made available by Mautic to give you the possibility to create fantastic landing pages and emails in an easy, fast, and free way, avoiding you having to resort to a private developer and having to spend money for each single page or email you would like to create. It consists of the WYSIWYG editor, an acronym that stands for What You See is What You Get. This name refers to the fact that the way what you create appears in the editor exactly matches the appearance of the web page you will get. It offers you a set of ready-to-use and really easy-to-use development tools that make creating pages and emails a breeze. Among these tools, we have the sections, slots, and tokens, which we will discuss in depth in the next articles and videos on how to create landing pages and emails in Mautic. But Mautic offers you much more. In fact, in addition to this wonderful editor, Mautic also provides you the possibility to take advantage of a series of fantastic themes or ready-made templates created specifically for different purposes. Some of these purposes are, in the case of landing pages, to inform, to collect information, to sell, or in the case of emails, to confirm subscription to the newsletter, to welcome, to send an invoice, etc. These themes can be applied immediately to your pages and emails and can be modified as you wish within the editor. In addition, Mautic also offers, for the more experienced, the possibility of directly manipulating the source code of each page and email thanks to the use of the code mode. This mode can be used both to create pages and emails from scratch and to make changes to the ready-made templates made available by Mautic, which you will be able to customize to your liking in every aspect, up to maximum satisfaction. This also gives you the ability to use ready-made code, either yours or someone else's, speeding up the creation or customization of pages. This means that if you have previously created a page or an email or developing it yourself thanks to the use of web development languages, or using some free editor of some online service provider that allows you to obtain the source code of the created pages, or if you are looking on the internet for ready-made templates of pages and free emails of which you can get the code, it is easy to find some, or if you have bought it, you can insert their source code directly in the Mautic editor activated in code mode, obtaining either immediately or making changes the same result. That is to say, being able to correctly display these pages and emails also in Mautic. But it doesn't stop there. Mautic goes beyond all limits. To bring your pages and emails to life, thanks to its open nature, you can also use third-party tools already integrated with Mautic. This means that using these tools, you will not have to make any changes to the source code of the pages and emails created with them to integrate them with Mautic, because they will be already and immediately ready for use. Among these, it is absolutely worth mentioning two crazy tools of the latest generation to have absolutely in your marketing arsenal if you aim for excellence. That is the most powerful professional tool on the market today for creating pages and much, much long more, and the most powerful professional tool on the market today for creating emails. Both incredibly easy to use, no technical skills required, because they are equipped with innovative editors in continuous evolution, rich in advanced features, and with a huge collection of templates ready for any purpose. Also, fully editable and to leave you speechless, and therefore, able to bring your creations to the highest level. You can also find the links of these extraordinary tools in the description section of this video. A/B tests. During the design of a page or an email to present to own users, it may happen that several development ideas are born to make these elements effective, perhaps in line with the latest discoveries of the moment. but that it is not known which of these ideas is actually the most effective, and that you want to find out, so as to present only the page or email that has been most successful, obtaining the maximum result. Now, a feature of Mautic present in every professional marketing automation platform is that of the A/B test. As you already know, if you have knowledge of web marketing, it gives the possibility to compare two different elements of the same type, such as, for example, two landing pages, therefore, two elements of the same type but with differences. These differences are essentially differences in appearance or content. This is done to find out which of them produces the best result with respect to the goal to be achieved, which can be clicking on a link, sending a form, downloading a PDF, etc. Currently, Mautic offers the possibility of A/B testing for emails, allowing you to find out which of the two versions of the same email achieves a better result on factors such as open rate, click-through rate, sending of forms, and the execution of downloads, even decreeing the winner automatically. In addition, if desired, with a little ingenuity, an A/B test for landing pages is also easily practicable. Although this function for now is not natively present in Mautic, but it would have to be reproduced manually by mixing different functions. But this is only the beginning. In fact, the Mautic community is constantly working to introduce always new great features. And one that has recently been requested is A/B testing for campaigns. In addition, both in the case of landing pages and emails, it is possible to have translations of variants to be subjected to the A/B test to evaluate the performance of an element in other languages as well. Finally, also in this case, all the information relating to a specific A/B test can be consulted on the specific details page. Multiple authentication, simple, two-factor, and SAML-based SSO. Acquiring personal information of potentially all types of users and having to guarantee its confidentiality, it is more than understandable that among the characteristics of Mautic, there are also some relating to data security. One of these is the possibility of being able to resort to multiple types of authentication, in particular 3 for now. That is, basic authentication, two-factor authentication, and single authentication based on the SAML protocol, each of which offers a different level of security in addition to the protection of the data acquired and present in Mautic. The first is classic authentication, generally provided as a base by every web application. That is, authentication based on entering the username and password. In addition to this, Mautic also offers the possibility to enable the most advanced two-factor authentication. It is a type of authentication that adds an extra level of security compared to the previous one, and is currently also offered by both the largest and most famous realities of the web, such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and by the most common realities, which they are gradually adapting to this new safety standard. This authentication works very simply. First of all, it must be integrated, free of charge, by installing the Mautic open source plugin called Google Authenticator. Then it must be activated on the specific page dedicated to plugins of your Mautic account. Once this is done, it will be possible to scan in the plugin settings page through the use of any authentication app, such as the homonymous open source authentication application offered by Google Authenticator, and similar, your unique QR code, quick response code, which is a two-dimensional barcode. This code will allow you to generate TOTP, time-based one-time password tokens, or unique 6-digit numeric codes, which can be viewed within your authentication app, and which change every 30 seconds. At this point, as soon as anyone who has activated two-factor authentication tries to authenticate to their Mautic account, they will have to enter these codes in addition to their username and password. And if the authentication is successful, you will finally be able to access your account. Finally, Mautic offers a last possibility of authentication. That is, single authentication based on the SAML protocol. Nowadays, also like the previous one, increasingly provided by the realities of the web. This authentication works even simpler than the previous one. It involves several actors, precisely 3, who interact with each other in order to give rise to a more secure, simplified, and rapid user authentication. We already know the first 2 of these 3 actors. The first is any user who wants to access their own Mautic app account, and the second is that user's own Mautic app. They are joined by a third party, or an external service provider called identity provider, which has the task of verifying through one or more authentication methods, including 2-factor authentication, and others, even more advanced, the identity of any user who tries to access their Mautic application, and, if the verification is successful, have them access their Mautic account, but also the account of all other applications besides Mautic connected to that supplier in one go, hence single authentication. Put simply, their interaction works like this. A user with an account on a Mautic application creates an account on the site of an identity provider. Once this is done, it will be possible to link your account in this Mautic application to the one created on the website of your identity provider by implementing certain settings on both accounts that are necessary to create this link. Thanks to this connection, the user's Mautic application and its identity provider will be able to begin exchanging information through the use of the SAML protocol. Through the use of the SAML protocol, a protocol made specifically for the exchange of authentication and authorization information between 2 actors of this type. Once the 2 accounts have been connected, each user who has activated this type of authentication and tries to access their Mautic application through the appropriate authentication page will be redirected to an authentication page on the site of their identity provider, where they can authenticate through the use of one or more of the authentication methods that you have chosen to use made available by your identity provider. Finally, once authenticated, the user will be redirected again from the authentication page of their identity provider to their account in their Mautic application, obtaining access to it. Points, stages, and life cycle, or funnel. How much easier would it be to know who you are addressing and to make targeted communications, greatly increasing their consistency if among the hundreds, or thousands, or tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands, or, when I say thousands, the millions, or more, the billions, or even more, the trillions, or quadrillions, or even the zillions, well, you understood, of contacts on your list, you could find out, on the one hand, who among these are more interested in your activities and actively participate in them, even obtaining a ranking, and, on the other hand, in what precise point of your funnel they are located. If your answer to this question is very, very much, but you think you can only get to discover such things by hiring Lieutenant Columbo, who, in order to obtain such information from your contacts, is ready, in case they do not want to provide it to him, to extinguish his cigar on the pelvic areas, but with delicacy, then calm down. Because to do this, only 2 characteristics of Mautic are enough: the points and the stages. Let's start by talking about the former. Points in Mautic are units of measurement used mainly to measure the involvement of your contacts towards some of your activities, such as, for example, their involvement with your landing pages, or your forms, or your emails, etc. You can automatically assign a certain amount of points decided by you to each of your contacts every time they interact in some ways with these activities, just as you can make them lose them every time they don't. In particular, this means that the more points a contact has, the more points he has earned through one of these ways, most often through his interactions with your activities. When this is the case, it creates a natural ranking of constantly evolving contacts, where contacts with the most points are higher in the rankings and more engaged, while those with fewer points lower down and less involved. This allows you to understand who are the contacts you are addressing, if they are interested in your activities, who actively participate in it, and to what extent. Generally, the more your contacts are interested in your activities, the more likely they are willing to accept your proposal, and therefore, the more likely you are to achieve your goals, which usually has to do with transforming a contact into a customer. Apart from that, points can also be used to create stages. According to the official definition of the term, stages are a way to define the life cycle of a contact, more commonly known as a funnel, which is, instead, the set of its stages. Metaphorically speaking, a stage can be compared to a part or a well-defined section within a path, while its life cycle to the path itself. A path that typically a contact begins when filling out a form and which culminates with a sale, but which can begin in any way that allows you to acquire his contact details and culminate in whatever you can imagine, and which gives great satisfaction when it culminates in the achievement of a common benefit, yours and the user. To create a new stage in Mautic, in addition to the name, a brief description, and some other settings, it is in fact also necessary to indicate the points that a contact must have in order to access this stage. You can create as many stages as you need to chart your entire funnel. Each stage of your funnel, to be functional, must have a higher score than the previous stage, so that a contact can only advance from stage to stage and never retreat. Once you have created all the stages you need, therefore the entire funnel, each contact, to access a specific stage of this funnel, must have reached the score necessary to be able to access that stage. All this will allow you to find out precisely at what stage of your funnel each contact is. Among other things, Mautic provides convenient tools to view the progress of each contact within the funnel and the speed of progress of each contact from one stage to another. And, thanks to the possibilities made available by Mautic to be able to connect each stage of the funnel to a specific segment and to be able to use each stage as a condition within the campaigns, you will also have the possibility to create targeted communications and campaigns for all contacts within a specific stage, thus increasing its coherence and, consequently, its effectiveness. Finally, the points can also be used to create triggers. Triggers are point-based conditions that, if met, automatically trigger events, or more precisely, actions that perform a function. As in the case of actions and stages, in fact, even to create a new activator, apart from all the other settings, it is also necessary to indicate the points that a contact must have to trigger the activator. And again, as in the case of actions and stages, you can create as many activators as you want, which can be activated from the same score or from different scores. In practice, when a contact reaches a score corresponding to what is necessary to trigger a certain activator, this would trigger automatically activating a certain event or action which performs a function. The events you can activate via the triggers are as follows. 1. Change a contact's campaign. Add or remove a contact from a campaign. Useful, for example, to move a contact to a more appropriate campaign, or to remove it from one or more campaigns that have become inappropriate. 2. Edit contact segments. Add or remove a contact from a segment. Useful, for example, to move a contact to a more appropriate segment, or to remove it from one or more segments that have become inappropriate. 3. Edit contact tags. Add or remove a tag to a contact. Useful, for example, to indicate that a contact has traveled a certain path. 4. Sending an email to the contact. Send an email to the contact. Useful, for example, to send congratulations or a special offer, etc. 5. Sending an email to a user. Send an email to any user or any email address you want. Useful, for example, to let a certain user know that a contact has reached a certain score, which could signal that this contact is ready to enter a new stage of the sales process, such as being contacted by telephone or being invited to make an appointment. 6. Push of an integration contact. Pushes a contact to integrate within another software. Useful, for example, to share a contact with another software so that you can use all your features with this contact. Possibility of direct and indirect growth of its functionality. Starting from those used to plow the digital seas of the web, like Chrome and Firefox, continuing with those to draw all sorts of realities, like Photoshop and GIMP, passing through those of video editing, such as Adobe Premiere and Final Cut, then continuing with those for the managing content like WordPress and Joomla, up to those for creating social networks like Facebook and Twitter, and going beyond to who knows where. All these applications have at least one thing in common. One thing that has been able to give each of them that extra edge that has allowed them to stand out from all other applications of their kind. I'm talking about their ability to enhance their functionality, which can be accomplished in at least one of the following two ways. First, the extension of its functionality through the support of plugins. That is, these web apps allow the installation of plugins to extend their functionality. Second, the integration with other software through the availability of its own APIs, application programming interface, or using those of the web apps with which you want to implement the integration. That is, these web apps allow the use of their own APIs, or use the APIs of other web apps, or both, to create an integration. Both ways are capable of increasing their potential beyond all limits. Among these applications, there is also Mautic, which among its features has both the support of plugins, in Mautic, also called mixins, the availability of its own APIs, and the ability to use APIs from other web apps. Mautic, in fact, offers anyone the opportunity to develop plugins to install to increase their functionality. Currently, there are already many developers who have created plugins for Mautic and who are currently working to create new ones, and their number is growing day by day. This is so true that relative to the progressive increase of developers and plugins, it seems to be witnessing with Mautic what we witnessed once with WordPress, which currently has about 40,000 plugins in its repository, ready to be downloaded and installed. While it doesn't hit those numbers yet, but we're very confident that it will happen sooner or later, Mautic currently offers a fair number of plugins, which, again, as with WordPress, are either free, premium, or both. That is, they have both a free version, a premium version, or both. A small part of these plugins are listed on a page of the official Mautic site called the Marketplace. As we have already said, in addition to supporting plugins, Mautic also makes APIs available, thanks to which it can integrate with other web apps, but can also do so using the APIs of the latter, also increasing their functionality in both these cases. These web apps, which can be linked together, working synergistically as a single large orchestra to achieve the same goal, namely the realization of all your activities, are potentially infinite. Those currently existing and integrable with Mautic are hundreds. You can easily integrate, for example, without having any technical knowledge, Mautic with another application via APIs in at least two ways. One, using a plugin. In addition to the plugins available for Mautic to directly extend its functionality, there are also plugins that have the specific function of creating an integration between Mautic and another web app through the use of APIs. Once installed and activated, these plugins only need some simple configurations to create the integration. After that, it will be possible to benefit from the synergistic action of the Mautic features and the web apps with which the integration took place, indirectly increasing the functionality of both. Currently, the plugins that allow you to integrate Mautic with another application through the use of APIs are quite a few. Among these, also some that allow you to integrate Mautic with the most famous applications, such as, for example, the plugin open source to integrate Mautic with WordPress, created directly by the Mautic developers and downloadable for free on GitHub. Or the one, also open source, to integrate Mautic with WooCommerce, which offers both a free version with basic features and a premium version, which, in addition to the basic ones, also offers many other features. And many others to integrate Mautic with many other famous web apps, such as, for example, just to name a few, Joomla, Drupal, Typo3, Concrete 5, etc. In the case of CMS, or as Magento, PrestaShop, Shopify, etc., in the case of e-commerce, or like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc., in the context of social media, and much, much more. In addition, there are rumors that some developers are working to create plugins to integrate Mautic with many other powerful applications. Among these, for example, we have the following. Starting from the best application for creating community sites, to that for the creation of membership sites, from that for fundraising, to that for the creation of multilingual sites, from that for the management of events, and so on. And many more are on the way. Also, in this case, you can find all the links to these applications in the description section of this video. 2. Using the export function. Another way to integrate Mautic with other applications is this. Some service applications, for example, applications that offer a service, such as, for example, applications to create pages or applications to create forms, provide an export function that allows, in fact, to export everything we have created thanks to their use directly within your own web app, in our case, Mautic. The use of this function requires, as in the case of plugins, some simple configurations to create the integration. After that, it will be possible to export what has been created, landing pages, forms, etc., and use them directly from within Mautic. In short, thanks to its ability to increase its functionality through all these ways, Mautic is a universe of possibilities, and there is no limit to what you can do. Consultation, export, and ownership of data. Attention! If there is one astounding feature of Mautic, it is surely this. If you listen to this article with a denture next to you, I guarantee that you will not be the only one to be amazed. As is often known to those who have been in the online business world for some time, most of the time one of the increasingly important factors for the success of a digital business is that of data, in particular those acquired by their potential customers. In the case of marketing automation, such data can be an email address, a telephone number, but also age, city, personal tastes, behaviors, actions taken, interactions, and so on. Here, with Mautic, thanks to the open source nature of the technologies it needs to function, such as the database, all the data you acquire while using the platform, such as pages created, forums, user profiles, emails, campaigns, points, etc., are yours forever. You can access this data in various ways. 1. You can consult them online through a fantastic integrated dashboard full of information in different formats, both graphic and textual. In the case of graphic formats, you have an exciting map of the world at your disposal, which gives you an immediate geographical overview of all your contacts, coloring at different degrees of intensity depending on the place of origin and the number of your contacts. Or other wonderful types of graphs, such as statistical graphs, which show you trends, or pie graphs, which instead show you percentage divisions, and also stimulate hunger, etc., which distinguish the different information, enlivening the dashboard. In the case of text formats, you have information boxes of various types, such as list ones, which instead show you lists of information, data, or text strings. Moreover, this dashboard is completely customizable and can be ordered at will because among all the available information, it allows you to show only those that you are really interested in viewing according to your needs, to highlight them, and to organize them in the best possible way. All things that allow you to have a tailor-made overview at all times, both general and detailed, of the progress of all your activities. 2. You can export them by creating one or more reports from the main Mautic menu. They are really easy to create, enormously customizable, and can be easily adapted to your needs. After giving it a name, you can choose a data source, depending on what information you want your report to contain. Some data sources also offer you the possibility to insert graphs within the report. Then you can select the type of information you are interested in receiving. If you want, you can filter it based on various criteria, and also give an order to the presentation of the information. Finally, reports can also be scheduled to be sent via emails, the frequency of which can also be chosen. This frequency can be daily, weekly, or monthly to be able to consult them according to your needs and stay up to date on the progress of your activities. 3. You can access the database directly. Finally, in addition to the 2 ways to access your data previously seen, obviously direct access to the database could not be missing, which you can do either through the graphical interface, using a database management software such as phpMyAdmin, or if you know how to do it, via the command line. In short, therefore, Mautic gives you the freedom to take possession of all, absolutely all, of the data you acquire during its use, to consult it if necessary in the various ways available, and to use it when, where, and how you want. All this, consequently, leads us to another great possibility, namely that of an authentic, complete, and liberating privacy. In short, Mautic is the greatest opportunity of its kind for the independence and data freedom of all your businesses. Compliance with the GDPR. Finally, the last feature of Mautic we talk about in this article, but not the last of its features, is its ability to comply with the GDPR, acronym for General Data Protection Regulation. For example, the General Regulation for Protection of European Data. This regulation, implemented on the 25th of May 2018, has significantly changed the way in which from that date onwards, companies or entities of all sizes and parts of the world have begun to act in relation to the processing of personal data of citizens belonging to the European Union. In particular, these companies or entities must, among other things, guarantee certain rights to all their European users, namely, 1. The right to know what data is stored, why, and for how long. 2. The right to access data. 3. The right to data portability, that is, each user can request at any time a copy of their data as they are stored. 4. The right to be forgotten, that is, each user can request at any time the modification or definitive deletion of their data. Otherwise, that is, in the event that these rights are not guaranteed, these companies will face the possibility of unpleasant consequences, such as fines of increasing intensity, which, in the worst case, can even reach 20 million euros, or to 4% of the annual worldwide turnover. Given the leading role played by Mautic in the field of marketing automation, as it is currently used, according to official data, by hundreds of thousands of businesses, and given the consequent enormous interest on the part of Mautic around these types of issues already in April 2018, therefore, a month before the implementation of this regulation, its founder, D.B. Hurley, wrote publicly in an article on Mautic's blog the following words regarding it. "We are committed to ensuring that our software not only is compliant, but stands out as a model by which others evaluate their level of implementation." Clear words, therefore, that already at that time left no doubt about the intentions of the founder of Mautic about the level of compliance to be achieved with his software with respect to the GDPR and to any other regulation of this type. And, in fact, even then, the good Hurley provided a two-pronged approach to making his Mautic installation compliant with the GDPR. In practice, what Hurley proposed was, on the one hand, a way to make one's installation of Mautic compliant immediately in a few simple steps, and, on the other, a solution that provided for future improvements at the software level, for an increasingly easier implementation of compliance. Today, almost 4 years after that article, it can be said with all evidence that Hurley has kept his word, as currently, thanks to the improvements made to Mautic over time in relation to the GDPR, it is even easier to make its installation of Mautic compliant with the European regulation and guaranteeing each of its European users their rights. Similarities between Mautic and WordPress. After seeing what are the most important features of Mautic, including those capable of making it a real revolution compared to all the other marketing automation and email marketing software on the web, it is interesting to note that many of these features are shared with WordPress, which, largely thanks to them, has been able to achieve the success it has. In fact, despite being born for different purposes, Mautic shares many of its important features with WordPress. They are listed in the following list. 1. Both are open source. 2. Both are supported by a great community. 3. Both have a large company or more than one behind them. 4. Both offer multi-users. 5. Both are multilingual. 6. Both offer multiple authentication systems. 7. Both can increase their functionality directly and indirectly through their own plugins and APIs or those of other web apps. 8. Both have a repository. 9. Both allow consultation via dashboard, export, and ownership of data. 10. Both can be achieved in more ways than one. More on that later. What are these, the secret ingredients for the success of every web app on the internet? Whatever the answer, for now, the sure thing is that Mautic is starting to achieve the same success in the field of marketing automation as WordPress in the field of CMS, and continues to grow every day more and more. Why use Mautic? After everything we have talked about so far, I think no more words are needed to explain what an extraordinary opportunity for you and your business Mautic can be, whether to do marketing automation, to simply do email marketing, or both, but also to do other things. In any case, if all this were not enough, let's take a look at the reasons why you should immediately integrate Mautic into your daily life and that of your company and start using it for all your activities. 1. Mautic has everything you could want from a high-end marketing automation and email marketing platform. Mautic is a marketing automation and email marketing platform with unique features and rich in functions. It has all the essential functions of a professional marketing automation and also email marketing platform, such as the ability to create pages and forms, to create campaigns, even complex, for example, based on conditions, decisions, and actions, or that of segmenting one's contacts based on an infinite amount of criteria, etc. But it also has a plethora of other more advanced functions, such as creating dynamic content, which changes according to the contacts it is presented to, or assigning it points, triggering automatic action triggers based on events, etc. And new features are added periodically, which certainly make it one of the marketing automation and email marketing platforms with the most functions ever. 2. Mautic is an open source platform. Mautic adopts a development and distribution model that brings with it advantages that no other software of this type can give you. First of all, Mautic is free software. Once downloaded, it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. Then, it is independent. If you know where to put your hands, you can continue to develop it on your own, or with whoever you want, without having to answer to anyone, and customize it as you see fit. Furthermore, thanks to the fact that it is made up of other open source software, such as the MySQL database, all the data you collect is yours forever, and every success is a real progress. Mautic is a platform supported by a large company, and others as well, and a wonderful community. The first, Acquia, supports Mautic by financing its development and making all its skills available for the success of the project. The second, made up of hundreds of intelligences from all over the world, does so by practically participating in the development of the platform and carrying out all the necessary tasks, proving to be a community you can always count on. All this is very important in a project of this type because it contributes, on the one hand, to providing it with vital resources and guaranteeing continuity, and, on the other, to making it stable, reliable, and promising, able to go beyond its own horizons. 4. Mautic is free. Mautic as a web app is free. The only thing you pay are the resources needed to host your application. Everything else, such as licensing costs, costs for updates, or for training, simply does not exist. 5. Mautic can be used in any sector for an infinite number of purposes. Just to report a few, in the company, to do marketing to sell, classic, or to support an electronic commerce system, or to select staff. In politics, to inform about an electoral program. In education, to create training courses, or to acculturate about something, like, for example, about a poet's story and the like. In tourism, to make known the stages of a travel itinerary, or informing about the various places in a place, or about the various activities that could be carried out in a place. In journalism, to make known the whole story of a story. In transport, to assist in the purchase of tickets. In sport, to remember the games to be played, or to plan a training course. The possibilities are endless. 6. Mautic has a rapid development. It is punctuated by its clear release policy, which sets out 3 different types of releases. Those of the first type are called patch releases. a term used metaphorically to refer to those used to fix one or more parts of a torn fabric, and which in computer science indicates a piece of software created specifically to fix one or more parts of a program. These releases are monthly and include bug fixes only. In the Mautic release number, these types of releases are indicated by the number after the second point. Those of the second type are called minor releases. These releases are quarterly and include both bug fixes and new features compatible with previous versions. In the Mautic release number, these types of releases are indicated by the number after the first point. Those of the third type are called major releases. They are annual and include both bug fixes and new features, but also major changes that are not compatible with previous versions. In the Mautic release number, these types of releases are indicated by the number before the first point. According to this release policy, Mautic's development is progressing at great speed, with new updates released from month to month. 7. Mautic aims to be a leader in compliance with data protection regulations, such as the GDPR. A main function of any marketing automation, and to a limited extent, email marketing, platform is to collect and use the data of anyone who interacts with a digital property. But doing this without complying with the regulations relating to the protection of personal data can lead anyone who does it to have quite a few problems. However, if you use Mautic, you are sure to use a platform that will always do everything possible, and as stated by its founder, will try to do it more than anyone else to comply with any regulation of this type. 8. Mautic is easy to use. Once you learn how it works, using it is super easy. It has a clear and intuitive graphic interface, which contains only what is essential, making its use simple and immediate. In some ways, it looks a bit like the WordPress interface, so if you know what I'm talking about, you can understand what I mean. As for the interface, the use of its features is also relatively simple, and in the case of some of them, it is made even easier thanks to the use of special plugins. All this makes Mautic a software suitable for everyone, not just experts, with which you can quickly create anything you want. 9. Mautic, quite simply, is the future of marketing automation. If there is one thing that projects like WordPress have taught us, it is this. In the world of open source, if a person has a dream, such as that of giving life, perhaps from their own bedroom, to an epic project which aims to change the fate of the world, into a community that constantly supports its development, until it becomes something great, reaching unimaginable levels, such as being used by millions of people around the world, this person can make it happen. And this is exactly what is now happening to Mautic, an open source project born from the dream of an enterprising young man, the legendary D.B. Hurley, and supported by a large and wonderful community, a large family, and recently also a large company, Acquia, which finances and supports its development, to which, given its enormous potential, more and more people are joining every day, and which to date has come to boast hundreds of thousands of participants all over the world, which are the lifeblood of the project. That lifeblood that has led projects like WordPress to reach the top, that lifeblood that is now leading Mautic to become the future. Well, having seen the reasons why you should use Mautic, let's now see how to go from words to deeds. How to get Mautic. At this point of the video, the time has finally come to find out how to get Mautic, so that you too can make this wonderful marketing automation and email marketing software yours, and start using it for your success and that of all your activities. As we teased earlier, when we talked about the shared features between Mautic and WordPress, it is currently possible to get Mautic as WordPress basically in two ways, one paid and one free. The first is by taking advantage of the commercial service of Acquia, hosted solution, the company which, as we have already said, recently acquired Mautic and which supports its development. Acquia, in fact, offers medium and large businesses with a minimum of 50,000 contacts a professional paid service, which can be purchased on the company's commercial site or Mautic.com, which consists in the complete management of the company's Mautic application on its servers. The service therefore includes a wide range of activities, ranging from the installation of the application to its optimal configuration, from administration to updating, up to the resolution of any problem. This service also includes 24-hour assistance and a training course on the use of the platform and on marketing automation. In practice, returning for a moment to the features shared between Mautic and WordPress, this commercial service for the use of Mautic offered on the Mautic.com site is comparable to the commercial service for the use of WordPress offered on the WordPress.com site. The second way in which you can get Mautic is a way that we have already talked about on more than one occasion in this video. That is by downloading it for free from the download page of the official site of the open source project, namely Mautic.org, where the package for the production environment is available, including all the libraries and ready to be installed and used. Or by downloading it, again for free, but from GitHub, where however the version of Mautic recommended for development and testing is available, which is therefore not suitable for use in production of the software. And subsequently, after downloading it, installing Mautic on its own server, self-hosted solution, or on the server of a hosting provider suitable for hosting Mautic, not all of them are, we will explain why in the article and in the video, The Best Hosting for Mautic, Reason Guide. Among other things, today, most of the time, installing Mautic on a server of a hosting provider is really easy, as many of them make, in general, software installation, and, in particular, installation of Mautic a real child's play, thanks to the use of tools that automate the installation of web applications. However, choosing a hosting provider suitable to host your Mautic installation, although it may seem like a simple task, as in the case of WordPress, in truth, if you do not have sufficient computer knowledge to do so, it could lead to making a wrong choice because there are many aspects to consider in its choice. For example, in addition to the basic characteristics that an excellent hosting provider should have, it is also necessary to consider the presence of the necessary resources for an optimal functioning of Mautic, which some hosting providers do not offer or offer at a high price. Or some security aspects specifically concerning a web app like Mautic, which many hosting providers don't offer. Or the presence of restrictions imposed by some hosting providers on their servers regarding the use of protocols necessary for the operation of a web app such as Mautic, which some hosting providers do not even offer. And a wrong choice could lead, at best, to a suboptimal use of Mautic, or, at worst, to catastrophic consequences. Therefore, to ensure that you get the best possible solution, since we have started using the internet since its dawn, and since, thanks to our curiosity, today we can say that we know everyone, or in any case, the vast majority of all suppliers of web hosting services on the web and their offers, we decided to create a dedicated article and video about it, entitled The Best Hosting for Mautic, Reason Guide, in which we talk in detail about all the aspects to consider when choosing a service hosting suitable for specifically hosting an application such as Mautic, and where we offer you our best solutions, the ones that we are also currently using for our activities. But if you don't have time to read the article or watch the video, and you want to know immediately which in our opinion are the best hosting services for Mautic accessible to everyone currently available online, because you too can't wait to try this wonderful web app, then we inform you that a complete and constantly updated list of these services is also present in the description section of this video, where we would like to remind you, you will also find many other links to other very useful services to use Mautic at the highest level, and much, much more. Conclusion. Having reached the end of this video, you should now be more aware of this great revolution taking place. We have seen what Mautic is, and in particular, what Mautic is as a marketing automation platform by entering its fantastic world made up of extraordinary people who help make all this real. What are its immense potential, especially those deriving from its open source nature, which make Mautic a unique marketing automation platform of its kind. How all this could now allow you to have a very powerful free marketing automation system at your service and at the service of all your activities, and where to start. In the next articles and videos, we will show you how to use Mautic from A to Z. We will start by discovering how to install Mautic and configure it as best as possible to make it work correctly. And then we will take care of how to integrate it into your website and how to use all its features one by one to get the most out of it. Therefore, we strongly encourage you to do two things. 1. Subscribe to our newsletter, both to be informed about our future news and to receive some free resources, which we will disclose only by email, that will allow you to use Mautic like a dragon. You will also find the links to subscribe to our newsletter below in the description. 2. To subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button and then on the bell symbol to be informed instantly about all our new videos. We hope this video was helpful to you. If so, and you have a moment to dedicate to us, then we invite you to share this video on social media by clicking on the buttons below, because this could help us grow and create much more content to help you grow and become an expert in using Mautic. And finally, we take this opportunity to thank you for watching this video and to wish you our best wishes for your success and that of all your businesses. Look your best. See you soon. Goodbye.